Oh, we're okay. We are live. So let's record. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this 41st episode. And I know I'm going crazy with the numbers, but that's why we don't like episode numbers of security here on the In30 Podcast Network. And today a news article broke out claiming that Facebook Messenger is the worst thing ever, like ever. Like, put it on the top of the most hated events in history, and Facebook Messenger is still higher than that. So, luckily, there's two really intelligent people here. Well, there's one, and then me somewhere in there that can explain how you should not be so distrusted with Facebook, and you should really understand what's actually going on. So let's bring Tom in.
Hey everyone, and I've got a list over here on this monitor of the great historical atrocities, and of course, number one, Facebook Messenger. Number two, Joseph Stalin, the whole, killing millions thing, whatever. And number three, of course, the great Facebook redesign of 2009, which everyone remembers. So many lives lost. It was terrible.
I mean, the number of Facebook complaining posts that I've seen, and the number of people that are going to quit using Facebook, I mean, it's astronomical. And they're all citing all this nonsense, and they don't know what they're citing. It looks scary. I mean, we're going to go through it, and you should be concerned, but nowhere, I mean, we're not saying not to use it. We're just saying just keep an open eye out.
Yeah. And we've gone through this a little bit before in less detail about Android apps and app permissions and what they're used for and kind of the red flags to look out for. But this is ridiculous. Can you imagine what would happen if all those people that said they were going to quit Facebook over like an interface change or some permissions actually did? Like, Facebook would be in the negative numbers of users right now.
That's true. I mean, but only the smart people would be using it. The intelligence on Facebook would be sky high.
I gotta say, I'm not on Facebook. I left, several years ago because I was bored of the people. So.
I mean, look, I say, and I'm going to get a lot of mail for this, is that Excel was the #1 greatest application ever made, or some sort of spreadsheet program. So it's Excel or Google Sheets or Zoho, whatever you want. #1 program ever made. The second one was Facebook Messenger. And I say that because Facebook Messenger started as Beluga. They were bought out after South by Southwest when group messaging became big, and they do everything right. It's small. It's platform agnostic, so wherever platform you're on, you see it. It doesn't redisplay notifications. I like the chat heads, which people don't. I don't know. And you have 1 billion people using Facebook, so it's not this extraordinary condition. Oh, you need to install it. Most people already have it. So.
Yeah, I guess the only way is to dig right in. And I know we've got like one big story we're going to link in the show notes, but keep in mind, don't vilify this news organization or this writer. Yes, they were wrong. Yes, they misunderstood. But they are not the only people that picked up this story and just ran headlong with it down the field. I mean, tons of news organizations ran out and said the new Facebook Messenger app will kill your family and then ransom you for the remains. It's absolutely ridiculous what people are claiming. So.
And remember, hold on, you replace Facebook Messenger with just about any other messaging program.
Yeah. Hangouts has most of this list in it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if our favorite, Threema may have this also.
Threema's got a good amount. It doesn't do pictures, I don't believe.
But again, it still has a good 60% of the same information.
Oh yeah.
So.
And we trust them for security.
And not to say that you should or shouldn't trust Facebook. That's a personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
I'm look, the EFF every whatever couple months puts out what the big internet companies are doing, and Facebook is taking a step up. So they may seem dirty, but they're trying to protect you, or better yet, they're trying to protect their data to keep to themselves.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, distrust Facebook all you want, but please distrust Facebook for the right reasons. This Facebook Messenger app is not the right reason.
so should I start with the first permission?
Yeah, let's go through this one by one and start knocking these out.
Well, let's do first an overview. By the way, Android, when you download an app, gives you all the permissions first, whereas iOS, as the permissions become necessary, they ask you. So just keep that in mind when we're going. We're giving you all of this first, so Android doesn't pop up every 10 minutes or every. It's not like UAC in Windows Vista. If you want to take that. So the first thing is identity. This is straight from the permissions listed on the Google Play site for Facebook Messenger. Find accounts on the device and read your own contact card. They need to know who you are. I mean, find accounts on your device. They want to make logging in simple, so you don't have to put your password in again. They want to use an Android feature that sees the account and then logs you in based on the fact that you have that account.
Yeah. So if we can, you guys can play along at home. If you've got an Android phone, follow along with me. Okay. Unlock your device using your very lengthy password, passphrase, or your swipey pattern thing. Okay, now pull down from the top, go to Settings, and let's see here. Scroll down until you see the section that says Accounts. And I've got a lot of accounts here. Do you use Facebook on your phone? If you do, you will see Facebook listed in this list of accounts. This app requires that permission because it uses that account listed right here that you've already logged into Facebook on your phone. It uses that so you don't have to re-put in all your stuff all over again. It just uses it. It's the same thing that Google does to log you into Google Books and Gmail and Hangouts. It uses one account for all of that. It's a convenience thing. It's not a security issue.
Now, what this website is saying, it goes, read your contact data, including who you call and email and how often. Another clear violation of your privacy. Now Facebook will be able to read emails you've sent and take information from them to use for their own gain. Information from whether it's for personalized advertisements or it's for its research purposes, whatever the reason, they're accessing your private encounters.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's just wrong. No. So from a person who's been not real heavy, but who has dabbled in Android development, listing permissions is probably one of the easiest ways to scare your users ever. Like, you could be developing a horror game for Android, and you could scare people more with the permission sets than you could with any game you could ever develop. Yeah, there's no way. They don't want all of that information. A, they don't want to use it in that way. B, it actually is required for the app to function.
So let's move on. Contacts calendar. Facebook Messenger can read your contacts. Well, you have to be able to contact somebody, right? So most apps in the beginning say, would you like us to scan your address book to find your contacts? Threema does that. I mean, every Hangout does that. They do it they may not necessarily tell you because you're giving them permission, but Facebook is saying, can we go to that Facebook account that we just mentioned and just copy that list, your Facebook friends, so you have access to it?
Yeah, can we go through the people that you've got listed in your phone's contacts and make them show up in our list if they're online on Facebook Messenger? That's all they want. I mean, I seriously doubt they're going to start spamming your grandmother. That's not in their best interest. What's in their best interest is to keep you using this application. If they annoy you or your family members, you're going to run screaming for the hills. There's no way you'll use it.
You have to remember, and we talk about this on the In30 show, where I'm a huge proponent of alternative messaging apps, whereas Paul and Justin are they like SMS. All these messenger apps have one huge problem. SMS is so much easier to use that people generally default to it because it works across the board. There's no app you have to install. It's defaulted, and to use Facebook Messenger, you have to do something, and you have to get everyone else to do it.
Right. And it's, you know, Facebook, for better or for worse, for most people, is your lowest common denominator of messaging. You know, you can message your grandmother or your high school crush or your wife or your boss or those guys you go to school with that you sit with at the lunch table. You know, all of them, just about everyone's on Facebook. So the Messenger app, everyone's got it. It's easy. I mean, there's a lot here in the permissions that make it sound really scary. Probably my favorite one is record audio and take pictures and videos at any time. Of course, all of that is in bold. You know, read that line again. At any time. Guys, no, that's not why they asked for permission. Yes, Facebook Messenger does want to record audio, video, and take pictures at any time that you tell it to record audio, take videos, or pictures to send it to your friends. Being a messaging app that does more than text. Hangouts does this exact same thing. Tons of messaging apps allow you to share audio, video, pictures. Just about all of them let you share pictures. Yeah, it's going to need access to the camera to use the camera. It's nothing nefarious. I mean, what would Facebook gain by just recording all day, every day?
And imagine you're trying to catch a picture of your baby taking their first steps to send to grandma or to send to your spouse or whatever it is, and you have to accept the permission at that point. And this is not a knock on Apple. Apple says we rather bother the people at the time, which I'm fully aware. I fully understand that may be a better way for some cases. But here it is. It's saying take pictures and videos and record audio. You do that anyway. You're going to want to send photos. You're not going to use a messaging service that doesn't allow sending photos or videos. So they have to build it in.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be scary if you think even a little bit critically about what the Facebook Messenger app is trying to do. Right? It's trying to be this multimedia messenger app that you can contact anyone in the world with, and especially the people on your contacts list. It's going to need some, basic functionality. It's going to need to be able to call phone numbers and send SMS messages. One of the features in this list is, they give you a phone or a text icon, and right from the Messenger app, you don't need to go anywhere else. You can make a phone call, or you can send a plain old SMS. You don't have to worry about going to a separate app or backing out and going into the phone. It's all built in right there. So to ask for the permission, that's a convenience.
And following up with that, the next one is photos, medias, and files. Test access to protected storage and modify or delete contents of your USB storage. And this is a scary one, a little bit, because what they're trying to say is, if you don't want to take a photo live and you want to share a photo from before, yesterday, whatever, you have to find it. It needs to pop up a file system so you can find it.
Yeah, it'll pop up a thing and says, where do you want to find this picture? Do you want to find it in Google Plus Photos or the Gallery or Astro File Explorer or Root Explorer? And it'll let you, search around on your device files. That permission is also used if they want to cache data. So if they want to put little cache files, if someone sends you a picture and they want to cache it in your SD card, and even if your phone doesn't have an SD card, it's still called SD card. It's a little weird, but it works that way. but it'll download in the background to the SD card. It will cache it on your system until it decides it doesn't need it anymore and gets rid of it. But it needs the ability to write files to your device. It's a multimedia application. I mean, especially if you can send and receive videos with this thing, it's going to need a place to store them. Could you imagine getting like 2 video messages and maybe like an audio chat, like within a couple minutes, filling up all the memory on your device, not the storage, but all the memory space, if they couldn't write that off to disk somewhere? That would be ridiculous. Of course they're going to cache.
And then you're obviously going to uninstall the program.
Yeah.
And this article says here, record audio and take pictures and videos at any time. Read that line again. Record audio, take pictures at any time. That means that the folks at Facebook can see through your lens on your phone whenever they want. They can listen to what you're saying via your microphone if they choose to. The operative word is if they choose to. They're not choosing to. They're really, really not. There's a billion Facebook users. They're not going to do that.
A, that's way too many people. And B, I mean, I'm an Android guy. I love Android, but I'm not going to lie. This has got virtually no battery life, especially compared to the iOS crowd. Android battery life is awful. If they have my camera on for 4 hours, if they have my microphone on for 4 hours, they're going to burn through at least half of my battery. And you know what? I can go onto my battery settings screen and see, oh, look, Facebook Messenger's taken up like 80% of my battery today. Uninstalled. Facebook doesn't want to do that. Their interest is to keep you using the application and keep making social connections and product connections to brands and people that you like so they can effectively advertise to you. Remember, you're the product here. They're interested in keeping you happy.
So, I mean, again, it's scary. Look, the permissions sound scary, and you should absolutely question them. But question them with an open mind. Yeah. Because this is a messenger. Replace, again, Facebook Messenger with Threema, or even replace it with SMS. If you're sending a picture message, it has to do the same thing. Whoever designed the operating system, that component for your SMS, you have to let them access the file system. You have to let them receive files. You have to let them do a lot of stuff. But because it's built directly into the phone, and you understand it, they don't ask you for those permissions. At least I don't think.
Yeah, sir. I mean, when you download, if you are downloading a calculator and it needs access to your camera, that's a red flag. That's a little weird. If you're downloading a game and it wants access to your camera because it's going to map your face onto one of the characters and then you can be in your very own NHL game, that's pretty rad and it makes sense. So think about it critically. Think about, okay, what is this app going to do? What does it need access to? If I download Snapchat, of course it needs access to the camera. It's an app about taking pictures and sending them to people.
I mean, we'll talk about this at the end, but I kind of want a way to deny the permissions. But again, we'll talk about that later. Location. They need your location. Every time you post on Facebook or you take a photo, it asks, you would like to tag your location, and you have a choice to say yes or no. There you go. It's asking for your location.
Yeah, and there are options. I mean, you can say no. You can deny that. If you want to, you can even turn off your GPS. It's really easy. I've got a widget to do it. I just hit a button and GPS is off. It's all of these make sense. It really makes sense when you think about it. But Facebook, unfortunately, it's always kind of been in vogue. It's been really fashionable to turn Facebook into this evil behemoth of, privacy-stomping, user-hating tech company of Silicon Valley that's rich and doesn't care about anyone. And I don't think that's the case. I really don't think Facebook is intentionally malicious. Have they done bad things with their security before? Oh, yeah. Have they made their users angry in a verified, validated, completely understandable way? Absolutely. Have they made really bad privacy gaffes in the past? 100%. But there's a lot of things to get mad at Facebook over. This app is not one of them.
Next
just
one.
doesn't make sense.
SMS. They can do anything they want with SMS. Edit your text messages, receive, read your text messages, send text messages, send SMS messages. Basically, Facebook Messenger wants to be your go-to app because they're trying to get you to fall into their ecosystem. So one of the features says, "Hey, would you like us to make us your default?" Well, if that's the case, if you're making Facebook Messenger your default text messaging app, it needs to have all these permissions because that's exactly what it's doing. I mean,
Yeah, it's Hangouts does the same exact thing. I've got Hangouts hooked to my SMS.
and look, Facebook Messenger has a design. Look, I like the design. I like the design of Hangouts. It's better than whatever Samsung or Motorola or anybody else comes up with. It's not stock. They're coming up with their own system that's probably not that good. Facebook is doing a messaging program. Let them handle it. They know what they're doing. So, next. Phone. Directly call phone numbers. Read call log. On Facebook Messenger, you can make phone calls. To do that, you need to allow it to have permission. It's not going to, if you don't give it that permission, it can't make phone calls, which then somebody has to explain why they can't do it when you promise them. Let me see, what do they say about call phones? This means that if Facebook wants to, it can send text messages to your contacts on your behalf. Do you see the trouble in this? Who is Facebook to be able to access and send messages on your phone? You're basically giving a stranger your phone and telling them to do what they want when they want to do it. Really?
That was written. I'm going to fault the writer for that because that was written in a the whole thing is really written in an inflammatory way, and I'm not sure if it was clickbaity and malicious or if it was just misguided and just ignorant. Either way, it's not true. It's not in Facebook's best interest to make people run away screaming from the app. It is in their best interest to make a really killer messaging app and keep people using it. And I mean, I don't want to sound like a Facebook apologist because they've done a lot of things wrong. They've done enough, anti-piracy things to warrant a backlash of this sort. But you are using your pitchforks and your torches in the wrong direction at the wrong thing. Save those for the real emergency, for the real tragedy, because I'm sure it'll happen one day. But this is nothing. I mean, you're waiting for the beast, and you got a puppy.
View Wi-Fi connection information. Well, Facebook would rather be on Wi-Fi than on data, always.
Yeah.
So if it can find Wi-Fi, it's going to want to connect. Device ID and call information. Read phone status and identity. Well, if you're on a phone call, it doesn't want to pop up a message.
Lots of apps read phone status. There are lots of games that read phone status. There's a lot of music apps that read phone status. If I'm listening to NPR streaming news and I get a phone call, I want NPR to shut up, and I don't want it to shut up, when I'm done with the phone call. I don't want to go and say, oh, hang on, let me answer this call. Hold on, Grandma, I'm pausing NPR, and then go into the app. I mean, I want it to stop talking now. I want the BBC to just can it, and while I talk to my grandma. And that's great. That's a fantastic feature, and Facebook Messenger is doing the same thing. It's not going to give you, a voice message or pop up a bunch of notifications or start ringing in your ear when you're on the phone. You're on the phone. It's going to try to back off and respect that you need some space to make a phone call. It's the right thing to do. It's a good way to develop apps.
And with that, they also have change your audio settings, same reason. Let's see. I mean, okay, I'm looking for the other ones that are related to that. Change network connectivity, control vibration. Again, if you're on the phone, you don't need your phone constantly vibrating. Or it turns off the audio and then vibrates. So you're on the phone with Grandma, at least it vibrates.
Yeah, I mean,
Draw over other apps. That's the chat heads feature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
We've seen LastPass do this. We've seen Pocket do that, for instance. When you say something to Pocket, it pops up a little bubble and allows you to tag it or, I think, email it to people.
the only one here that may throw up a red flag for anybody is download files without notification. I can see.
Actually, it does. It makes sense in the way Facebook develops their applications. Facebook doesn't want to push an update, like an official update through Google Play, just to change the look of their app. So what they'll do is they'll take certain images and certain basically UI settings, and it'll just download a new UI. So when you open the app, it looks entirely different, but it has never received an official update. And they're just continuing the trend. Now, in this other article we'll link from Android Central, the author does say that he would prefer Facebook to be a little more transparent about that and not just change things randomly. I kind of agree, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I can see why that would scare some people.
Again, just read. Look, if you're downloading apps from the Play Store, if you're downloading apps that have 4 stars or better, or have a lot of downloads with a lot of positive comments, okay, yes, read the permissions, but ask yourself, be really, really honest with yourself. Does this make sense? If Flappy Bird needs to do anything other than run into pipes, then we have an issue. Why does this app need to connect to the internet? If all it's doing, why does Tetris need to connect to the internet? You can ask that. Email the developer. If you're unsure, stop what you're doing. Get the email. The email on the support website is right there. Email the developer. Hey, why do you need that? They'll explain it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And
if they don't, greatest developers, if you look on Google Play or your respective app store, you can drop down the description, read through that stuff. A lot of times, developers will put in, you know, their list of permissions and why they need them. So I saw, you know, a game I wanted to play. It might have been a chess app of some sort, but you could play against the computer. And it said, you know, I need access to the internet. I was like, oh, that's weird. So I started reading the description. The guy says, yeah, if you can beat the computer on the hardest difficulty, we've got a leaderboard for that, and that's why I require internet permission to post high scores. Ah, that makes sense. That's fine. And you know, it's up to you on whether you want to take someone's word for it or not, because it could be part of a botnet. But
and again, I want to leave us with a lot of these people are using Facebook, and Facebook loves it. They're posting their photos. They're putting all their personal information. They're complaining about stuff. They're using Facebook to the fullest. And then Facebook puts out this messaging app to go with them, but they're bounded by disclosure in the beginning, and people go all crazy.
Yeah.
And it's not Facebook's fault.
We'll post both articles, and I'm not sure how much time we have, but minute and a half? Yeah. Probably not enough time. But next time, I know I keep teasing this, next time we'll go into responsible disclosure. You know, how can someone claim to be the good guy when they tell people about security vulnerabilities? What happens in that process? If something has a really bad hack to it, how can I tell the internet about it in hopes of getting this thing fixed without, you know, being the bad guy? How does that work? We'll go into it.
Okay, good. Next episode. Anyway, we're going to end a minute early, but anyway, everyone have a good week. We will see you next time.
See you guys.